Hi everyone, it's Jake, and welcome back to Watercolour Techniques for Beginners. In this episode, we're going to pick up some good habits for mixing paint, learn how to create a flat wash, and avoid this common mistake. A flat wash is a smooth, even area of colour, useful for painting backgrounds, skies, fields, everything. Watch till the end, and we'll use these skills to paint a simple still life of this lemon. Unlike acrylic or oil paints, watercolours don't come ready to use straight out of the tube. First, we need to add our medium, water. To mix up paint, use a nice clean brush and place some clear water on your palette. Then pull a colour of your choice into the pool of water and mix well. Adjust as you go by adding more water for a lighter colour and more paint for a darker, more intense colour. Try to avoid using too much pigment and not enough water, as the paint will become dry and sticky. Watercolour is a beautiful, free-flowing medium that should be set free and allowed to swim. This brings out its best qualities. It's a good habit to mix a large amount of paint, more than you think you need. There's nothing worse than running out when you're halfway through an area. And by the time you've mixed up the paint again, there may be some dry and hard edges where you stopped. Now let's try making an area of flat wash with this mixture. Grab a good amount of paint with your brush and paint in a zigzag motion. You might notice that wherever you lift your brush up, a small puddle forms. This is called a bead. Beads take longer to dry, and you can use them to extend a wash by placing your brush back down in that area and continuing to paint. To remove a bead, lightly dry your brush and use it like a sponge to soak up any excess paint. Here's a tip for covering large areas and getting rid of streaks or lines. Mix up lots of paint, place a few beads of colour on the page in spots, then quickly spread out the wet paint in multiple directions, from the middle to the edges. The key to a great flat wash is a nice even coverage. A great way to check this is by holding the paper up to a light and looking for an even, silky shine. That tells us we've used the right amount of paint. If you find there are puddles in your wash, you might be using more paint than your paper can handle. Try controlling the amount of water on your brush by lightly touching it against some kitchen paper. You might have come across this effect. It's called a cauliflower. It happens when light, low-density paint with lots of water is placed over a darker, high-density area. To avoid this, stick to placing darker paint over the top of lighter areas. This will create a nice natural blend. This soft blend is called the wet in wet technique and is a key part of successful watercolour painting. So now we know how to mix up paint, create a flat wash and avoid the cauliflower effect. I think it's time we had a go at a simple painting. Let's paint this lemon. You can come back and pause the video at this point to give it a go yourself. First, sketch out the general shape with a hard pencil and make note of any changes in value or colour. This works as a blueprint that will help us know where to paint. Next, paint the object with a light wash. This should be the lightest colour you can see on the subject. Be careful to paint around the highlight or any reflections, and leave the white of the page showing through. Now we can add darker and more chromatic colours to the first wash. Watercolour works best with vibrant, exaggerated colours in the shadows. Notice I'm using reds and oranges instead of greys. It's important we work from light to dark to avoid creating the cauliflower effect. Block in a nice flat wash for the background and use this as a chance to define the edges of the object. Where we don't want the paint to blend, we can wait for it to dry. Add a cast shadow. Soften the edges by removing some of the paint from the brush and painting over the edge again, and darken the shadow where it's closest to the object. Hey presto, we've got a nice simple wet on wet painting of a lemon. Why not give it a go? I hope you found this useful. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications to stay tuned. In the next video, I'll show you how to blend colours, make a smooth gradient, and we'll even paint a sunset. In the meantime, have a go at some flat washes, see if you can create that cauliflower effect on purpose, and have a go at that lovely natural blend by painting dark over light. If you come up with any questions, please let me know in the comments. And a big thank you to our patrons that make this possible. If you'd like to support the channel, check out our Patreon for references and worksheets, and I'm also offering some private tutoring there too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.